The biggest crisis coming up right now after this pandemic is pensions are going to crash. That's right. You got it, man.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Why are they going to crash?
Because they're empty. Wall Street looted them. My God, wake up. Wake up. You know, there's a better book than that. It's called The Creature from Jekyll Island by G. Edward Griffin. It's a big book. Get it on audiobook and listen to it. You know, a couple of 10 minutes a night or something. The Federal Reserve has only one purpose, is to keep the rich rich. That's their only job. So every time the market crashes, as you notice, money pumps in. They pump the market. They pump the prices up. The rich exit, and the poor and middle class who listen to Dave Ramsey and Susie Orman, and their advice is good for the middle class. Don't get me wrong. They're told to invest for the long term. Okay, so what's happening to the poor and middle class with their 401k and IRA right now are set? That's like saying, okay, put the handcuffs on the Titanic. It's going down. Meanwhile, the rich have got their G5 flying in to pick them up and get off the boat. They're out.
Right.
Because the problem isn't in the stock market. The problem's in the repo market, corporate credit market, the consumer commercial paper market. They don't tell you that. They don't teach you that in school. So suddenly, voila! You know, in September, the shadow banking, which is corporate credit, and the commercial paper and the corporate credit and commercial paper market started to go bad in September. Oh, suddenly, pandemic. Oh, that was interesting. Funny how that appeared, you know. So I'm not saying the pandemic isn't real. I'm saying the real crisis, it's a smokescreen for the real crisis going on right now. They're stealing your wealth through your pensions, your 401k, your IRA, through Social Security, through your taxes, through Medicare. That's why we have socialism kicking in right now. We have Bernie Sanders and AOC and Elizabeth Warren, hardcore socialists. But if you can see, if you really have a financial education, we're going from capitalists, which I am, and nothing wrong with a socialist. You know, there are some people, 20% of the people need to be given money because they're unable, for whatever reason, they're not able to. So we should give some people money, but not everybody. So we're going from capitalism to Bernie Sanders socialism and Hillary and all those guys. And then we're actually going to communism. And you can see it right now because Boeing is asking for a bailout and all these guys asking for bailouts. But this time the Fed's going to take percentage ownership.
Really?
Yes, that's communism. Central control of the economy. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but it's coming. But that's what they should teach us in school. And our school teachers, most of them are socialists, and some of them are communists. They want the government to tell us what to do. They're really fascist. You know, they're really fascist. A fascist wants to tell you what to do. So you look at this stuff, what's it called? Social distancing. You know, you're taking away the First Amendment, the right to assemble. PC, political correctness, is freedom of speech. Okay. That's what's going on. And then they're printing money under all this scheme. So if you study real world PC-ness, we've lost our freedom of speech. That's what Stalin took away. And social distancing is the right to assembly, which is why there was a Revolutionary War back in 1776. You know, the Americans had to go hide in a church because the British would kill them if they were caught assembling. Wow. History repeats. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but you know, most people aren't taught this.
Yeah.
That's why I love going to military school versus university.
They teach you a lot of history, probably.
We're taught military history. You know, history is bullshit. You know, to the victor goes history. You know, so the person that wins the war writes history to justify their position today.
Oh.
You know, it's called his story. You know, the loser doesn't get to tell their story.
That's funny.
So anyway, that's where we're at. And
yeah,
I'll just leave it to your generation. You guys are in the best position ever because you're still young. You're tech savvy, and the baby boomers aren't. So they're old. A lot of them are feeble, and they're gone. We're gone. So you guys have the world ahead of you.
And use this time to be creative and take action and be bold. And I think I saw something about in 2008 to 2010, some of the greatest companies or the biggest companies of today were started then. Airbnb, Uber, all these other companies.
Bitcoin. 2009.
Wow.
See, I love Bitcoin.
What's your thoughts on cryptocurrency? Why do you love Bitcoin?
Listen, Bitcoin is open source. The Fed can't touch it.
You don't like the Fed?
The creature from Jekyll Island, the Fed. The Fed is not a bank. It's a cartel owned by the richest guys on earth. Okay, you guys just wake up, So anyway, the Fed is a cartel. So when I saw Bitcoin come out, it's open source. It's people's money. Gold and silver are God's money. So my whole objective is I go through my system of business, but I'm buying gold and silver. I store it in other countries legally because you can't just move that stuff. You have to move it legally and declare it. So I move my money illegally. I want to get out of this country. So I keep my wealth outside this country, not because of my government. It's because there's so many people, you're going to see lawsuits are going to go up because people are desperate. They don't have any money. So when the economy gets bad, that's why, have you been in an accident? Have you been hurt? I'll come out sue them for you. So if you don't have the right corporate entity like LLCs, C corporations, S corporations, offshore accounts, money's going to be stolen. It's the real game. Okay, your pensions, you watch in a few years. He did tell us our pensions are gone. You know what's going to happen? They're going to bail them out again. Because if you read this book here, The Creature, it says bailout is the name of the game. Back in the 80s, there was a guy named Neil Bush. Let's see, the Bush family. George, Silverado Savings. When Neil Bush got in trouble, George bailed him out.
Yeah.
Got the game.
You say there's two different types of pensions. What's the difference between a normal pension that someone would get and a defined benefit plan pension? And why should people be aware of these things?
Well, defined benefit is industrial age. That was my poor dad's, So what happened is I got a job with Ford Motor Company. And I get defined benefit, which meant defined benefit means you get a paycheck for life. So if they promise you $1,000 a month, you get that for the rest of your life guaranteed. Well, the problem was, as you know, right around in the 70s, that's when China and Japan and Germany came on. So they had to get rid of pensions because pensions are a drag on the business. So they came up with a thing called ERISA, which today is known as a 401k. So a 401k type is a defined contribution. So you have defined benefit, which is industrial age. Defined corporation is the 401k contribution. So defined contribution means you only get what you put in. If it's not enough there, aloha. It's not our problem today. So I meet all these millennials who go, I have a 401k. And I said, do you like bending over and picking up the soap? You know what I mean? I go, they don't know the difference.
Yeah.
Because you know what a 401k means? Fees. Mutual funds, fees. Your money is stolen right out of your pension. Defined benefit, defined contribution. So defined contribution 401k is information age pension. It came about in 1974, just as the baby boomers were entering the workforce. So today, the average baby boomer's 401k has $65,000 in it. The guy with a defined benefit, their annual, they have something like $1 million in it.
Wow.
The trouble is they're empty. That's what Who Stole My Pensions about. My co-authors, and they have Ted Siddell. He was an SEC attorney, and he became a whistleblower because he saw how much Wall Street was sucking the cash
Wow.
of pensions. So that's who stole my pension. So he then he made, I think, $39 million last year blowing the whistle on all these Wall Street firms, Goldman Sachs and those guys.
What can people be doing when they have this 401k or this pension already that's going to do nothing for them? What should they be doing?
Well, what they should be doing is choosing their teachers wisely.
Yeah.
Because I can tell, I don't need money. Like, I write a book, right? And I get royalties from 50 different book companies throughout the world.
Wow.
So let's say I write a book, they pay me $10,000 for the right to publish my book. I have zero expenses, but I collect royalties for the rest of my life. I'm still collecting huge royalties off of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So I created my own assets. I don't need an ETF. I created the cash flow board game, which unfortunately sold out right now. But every time somebody buys one, I get a royalty, whether I work or not.
Yeah.
And then I borrow money, I buy real estate, and then I use the accounting laws, appreciation, depreciation, amortization, and pay no taxes. Trump doesn't pay taxes either. That's why he won't show his financials.
Wow. So you don't pay any taxes right now. Is it because of debt? Is that the main reason, or? Because
taxes are incentives. Taxes are, the government wants you to do certain things. For example, when I donate money to, let's say, PBS, public broadcasting, I get a tax break. I donate money to church, I get a tax break. That's what taxes are. So they tell you, if you do this, we'll give you a tax break. So if I have 500 employees, I get a tax break. If I have real estate because I'm providing housing, I get a tax break. So I use debt to buy real estate. And the more real estate I buy, the less tax I pay.
Wow. So
that's why Dave Ramsey, his advice is good for that person. But I need debt to buy the real estate so I don't have to pay any taxes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, real estate's going down right now. But that's why I have LLCs and C corporations, because then they can't get me because I'm protected by a corporate entity.
Mm-hmm.
And besides, if you read this book here,
the creature, you got to get the creature.
They're gonna bail me out. So they already bailed me out. They just said, how many employees do we have? So we calculated it up. So they're gonna give me 8 weeks of pay to pay my employees.
Really? Wow.
Free money.
So they'll bail you out. Wow.
I love this country.
You say don't be go ahead.
But you can't do that as an employee.
Go
to school, get a job. Your mindset is different than an employee's. That's Rich Dad and Poor Dad.
Yeah.
Poor Dad, employee. Rich Dad, entrepreneur. That was the choice I had to make.
What if someone's not, like you said, someone's not entrepreneurial minded, or they don't have those skills? Can someone become an entrepreneur, or is it something you're born with?
You shouldn't ask that. All kinds of entrepreneurs, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, of course.
There's drug dealers are entrepreneurs, hookers are entrepreneurs. There's a young girl who works in our neighborhood. She's a babysitter. She's an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody can be an entrepreneur, hopefully be a legal one.
Yeah.
The trouble is it's hard to make enough money if you're not a good entrepreneur. So anyway, it's just up here.
Find the teachers. Find the right teachers.